The award for excellence in presidential news coverage by a visual journalist, meaning a photog. What was the most iconic photo of the presidential contest or any presidential candidate in 2024? Do you have to think more than 2 seconds to know what it was?
It was Butler.
Yeah, it was Butler, Pennsylvania. There were a couple of them, one from Getty, one from the New York Times, but they were the
Doug
iconic
Mills,
photos of President Trump underneath that flag with the fist up fight. That obviously, Democrat or Republican, we all know it was that picture. It was unlike anything we'd ever seen before. Absolutely spectacular. This is the AP photo, and magnificent. I'll get the names of the photogs. Nope. It went to Doug Mills of the New York Times for his photo of Joe Biden walking under a picture of Abraham Lincoln. Stand by. We'll show it to you. So Doug Mills of the New York Times, who's a great photographer.
Yeah, he took one of the Butler. He took one of the iconic Butler images and he almost got hit. Yeah.
And this is what they gave it to him for. This is Doug Mills's photo of Trump, which did not win. Wasn't it nominated for a Pulitzer? I'm pretty sure it was nominated for, but not good enough for the White House Correspondents' Dinner because they felt the one of Joe Biden looking pensive under a shot of Abe Lincoln was the most compelling shot of the year, Emily.
It's so ridiculous. I don't even know what to say. I mean, maybe their explanation is that it's a White House photo as opposed to a campaign photo. I have no idea. But those journalists were taking
presidential news coverage. I mean, Trump is both a former president and was the Republican nominee for president. It's like, and frankly, in 2024, became president, won the presidency. It's like, I don't, is there going to be some rule, do we think, in the White House Correspondents Association book that it must be of the sitting president and not of a campaign trail photo? I doubt it.
And they're probably queasy about that Trump photo from Butler, which was a remarkable image and remarkable that Doug Mills kept shooting while he was being shot at and all those photographers who were in the Bay. But they're probably queasy about it because they know that it absolutely helped Donald Trump win re-election. Like there's no question about how that iconic image in and of itself was being shared by people who, like an Elon Musk, who started to openly come behind Trump after Butler happened. And I went back to Butler the second time he did his rally there with Elon, actually, and that was on lawn signs all over Butler, pro-Trump lawn signs all over Butler. I know that we were in other parts of the country as well, but I think that's probably what makes the sort of press corps queasy about celebrating an image like that, even though it was a remarkable shot, much more remarkable than that Biden image, is because they know that it was helpful to Donald Trump.
Do we really think if Kamala Harris had been almost shot and stood up and said fight with the flag all around her, even though she was only vice president and she was the campaign, for a short time, actual nominee, that wouldn't be their shot? Baloney. Go ahead, Eliana.
I don't think we can separate these awards all out, though. We got to look at this in context. So if you zoom out, you have the president of the White House Correspondents Association, Eugene Daniels, canceling the comedian Amber Ruffin because she said that she wanted to see Trump murdered or something insane like that, but she was too anti-Trump. So there was no comedian at the dinner, too anti-Trump. Then we had them giving the award for best White House coverage to Alex Thompson for covering aggressive coverage of Biden's decline. So you hardly can think that the White House Correspondents Association was then going to give the best image to this iconic photograph of Trump. Like they gotta throw the Biden people a bone somewhere in here. Just too much. They basically canceled their own weekend, and the award to Alex from them was not nothing. Like they were saying we messed up here.
No, it was nothing. No, I totally disagree. Here's why they did it.
Feels like
Eugene Daniels to give out that award.
Beyonce Daniels. There's a whole other story with him. We'll get to that. But no, there he is. This is the president of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. This is the guy. A guy with a question mark. He's literally thinks he's Beyonce. He puts on Beyonce hair and dresses like a woman and tries to find his inner fierceness, whatever. That's the president of the White House Correspondents Association. But that's a different story. The reason they did it, Eliana, trust me, is because right now with Trump in office, they need to say, We fell down on the job, but we need to shore up our resolve and never miss again. Now that it's Trump, I would stake every dollar I have on this premise.
I agree with all that. I totally agree with that. Yes.
So it's not a genuine come to Jesus moment or a risk for them to do this by nominating Alex Thompson. It's all part of setting. This is the part of the drama in which we find ourselves, unwitting audience members.
I totally agree with that. And then in Eugene's speech at the beginning got to that, in which I don't want to get ahead of you, but where he said, we, the press, are a lot of things. We're fearless.
We think
we know everything. We are not.
Here it comes.
He said, we are not the opposition. It's like, well, actually, you're kind of supposed to be the opposition. Like you're the press.
But now they are. Now they see themselves as that. But anyway, here's Eugene Beyonce Daniels, SOT 16.
We journalists are a lot of things. We are competitive and pushy. We are impatient, and sometimes we think we know everything. But we're also human. We miss our families and significant life moments in service to this job. We care deeply about accuracy and take seriously the heavy responsibility of being stewards of the public's trust. What we are not is the opposition. What we are not is the enemy of the people, and what we are not is the enemy of the state.
There he is. Eugene Beyonce. Go ahead, Emily. Just listening to your laugh during that soundbite was the highlight of my morning so far.
I mean, it's amazing when he said, the part that really got me is when he said, we miss family moments in the service of this job. I was dying because it's like, what the hell are you talking about? You're White House correspondents. You are not on the front lines in the Donbass. No, you're in the White House
MSNBC Weekend Show. Don't sell him short, Emily.
Yeah, exactly right. Like you're in the air-conditioned studio outside the Capitol. Congratulations, Eugene, making $1 million a year, probably writing Playbook. Yeah. They still are having, like Eugene left Playbook a couple of months ago, and they're still every day mourning the loss of Eugene Beyonce Daniels. And he's the perfect face of the media at this point because he sort of knows that he has to say things like to get morale up. Like we are a lot of things, but we are not the enemy. But he can't even do that right because to Eliana's point, you are literally supposed to be the enemy of power. That is the entire purpose of the press. And so he's too incompetent to even explain correctly what the job is. It is to be the enemy of power. It is not to be so deferential that you think like if Eugene Daniels wanted a pat on the back, he should have kept Amber Ruffin as the comedian because we all know that they think what she's saying, which is not funny, but they all think that it's funny. So stand by it and have some actual principles and hold to these principles. I'll disagree with your principles. I'll think they're gross and stupid. But if you actually think that it's funny to joke about Donald Trump dying in some like weird way, then by all means, like do it. But don't bullshit us and act like you are too good for that. You are too principled for that. You hired her. So what changed? No, you just got backlash. That's what changed. You are cowards. You are not brave. You're not serving the country. It is a joke. And they want us all to now applaud them. I mean, it's too much, but I'm glad at least they've lost their celebrity access because that is the one thing that made them feel really cool every single year is that they could like get their picture taken with Bryan Cranston. So congrats, guys.
You know, the other thing about it is, Eliana, you know, journalists, they, especially the ones who cover the White House, have long hours at times. And there are obviously, over the past 20 years, have been journalists who have deployed and taken big risks and actually suffered consequences of them as a result of taking on those dangerous assignments. So I don't mean any disrespect to those, but it is a very small collection of the overall. I mean, it's under 5%. 95% of journalists have a rather simple, easy job that tends to be an 8-hour day in an air-conditioned office where they have to pull a story off of the wire and repurpose it as copy for their own publication. There are great reporters like we see at the Free Beacon and so on, but I'm just saying, like, to talk about us like we're sacrificing it all, like a Marine on the front lines, like sacrificing dinner with their families. I mean, you know what? like on my team, if they sacrifice dinner with their families, they're probably going to get the next morning off. It's like, that's the way. And I've worked at Fox News for 14 years. I worked at ABC. I worked at NBC. It's really not that bad. It's truly not. One of the great things of being a journalist is if you lose, 8 days straight at the office, they tend to give you a few days off, especially all these union shops. Like, I can't stand that he's painting this like it compares, forget to being a Marine, but to being like a liver surgeon. This is ridiculous. The self-congratulatory back patting. Like, Beyonce needs to take a seat. This is not like her Lemonade years. This is like she's over the hill now in her messaging. I'm not picking up what she's putting down.
It is ridiculous. We've all basically worked these jobs. And above all, the jobs are an enormous privilege.
Yeah.
You get a front row bird's eye view on to the most powerful people in the world making the biggest and most consequential decisions in the world. You get to travel aboard their airplanes, see firsthand absolutely momentous events. I got to see President Trump shake hands with Kim Jong-un. And yes, you wake up really early in the morning for security protocols that day, but it's an enormous privilege. And it's really not a very big sacrifice. And it's a lot of fun. You get to meet builders with powerful and important people, but it's like one of the best jobs you could ever have. And
so true.
And I feel like you don't hear a lot of talk about that. I've never understood the sort of self-sacrificial, self-aggrandizing way these folks talk about each other. The other part of it is you then go on TV and talk about all your access and what you saw. There's just not a lot of hardship in this job.
No.
And beyond that, a lot of people in this country are working long hours and working hard and having a lot less fun at it. It's a pretty
way longer.
Job.
They just took a 4-year vacation. Biden did not work nights or weekends. Like, the audacity of Eugene Daniels at a black tie dinner, surely wearing some designer clothes to be the spokesperson of the journalists who maybe were slugging it out at a local newspaper night and day. Give me a break. Put one of them up there. They can make that speech. You can't.
This July, there is a global summit of BRICS nations in Rio de Janeiro. The bloc of emerging superpowers, including China, Russia, India, and Iran, they're meeting with the goal of displacing the U.S. dollar as the global currency. They're calling this the Rio Reset. As BRICS nations push forward with their plans, global demand for U.S. dollars will decrease, bringing down the value of the dollars in your savings potentially. While this transition won't happen overnight, the Rio Reset in July marks a pivotal moment when BRICS objectives move decisively from theoretical possibility toward inevitable reality, according to many experts. Learn if diversifying your savings into gold is right for you. Birch Gold Group can help you move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. Claim your free info kit on gold by texting MK to 989898. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold arm you with a free no-obligation info kit on owning gold before July and the Rio Reset. Text MK to 989898 today. Message and data rates apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.